Every single day, I brewed top-tier elixirs, but I'm stuck eating nothing but the leftover dregs from the furnace. And that's all because my finished elixirs keep inexplicably vanishing into thin air. At first, I thought a thief had broken into my alchemy room. But after staking it out for days, not a single thief showed up. Instead, the jade bottle next to the furnace was completely empty once again. However, just as I was racking my brain over this, I noticed the poor scholar next door. Recently, he suddenly got all plump and healthy, and there's even a faint magical aura flowing around him. To test my theory, today, just like always, I stored my newly brewed vitality elixirs in the jade bottle, and then, peering through a crack in the wall, I secretly spied on the poor scholar's house next door. I saw a young woman in white, holding an empty bowl and muttering an incantation. The very next second, a perfectly round elixir appeared out of thin air right inside the empty bowl. The young woman looked at the vitality elixir in the bowl, a flash of joy crossing her face. She quickly poured the elixir into a jade box beside her, and went right back to muttering her spell. On the other side of the wall, I scrambled up and rushed straight to my own alchemy room. I stared fiercely at that nearly empty jade bottle. Right now, there was only a shallow layer of elixirs left at the bottom. And then, right before my helpless eyes, the last 3 remaining vitality elixirs vanished completely, one by one. Not a single one left. It was wiped cleaner than a scraped furnace. Then, I dashed back to the crack in the wall as fast as I could. Peering through that tiny, barely noticeable hole, I saw that the young girl's jade bowl, sure enough, was filled to the brim with elixirs. There were at least 7 or 8 of them. Damn it, this is really destroying my path to cultivation. They aren't leaving me any way to survive. But before I could even finish cursing, suddenly, I felt a tugging sensation right by my hand. Before I could even react, that very last batch of freshly made elixirs vanished right along with it. Not long after, the scent of medicine wafted over from next door. The young girl refined the elixirs once more. Then, she transformed into a snow-white fox, and obediently hopped right into a cage nearby. I glared furiously at the fox next door, my eyes absolutely burning with rage. Damn that Zhang Deshan, if only he had just turned this fox into a fur coat back then. None of this would be happening today. You see, on a rainy night a few months ago, the hunter next door, Zhang Deshan, went hunting in the mountains and caught a white fox. Zhang Deshan originally wanted to use the fox to make a fur collar. But that dirt poor scholar next door, for some crazy reason that night, actually sold off his only 2 acres of meager farmland just to buy that fox. And ever since the fox started repaying his kindness next door, that was the absolute beginning of my miserable life. Who knows how that fox found out I could brew elixirs, but it started stealing my elixirs every single day. I became their chosen unpaid laborer. The vitality elixirs I painstakingly brewed by burning through my materials were all going to feed that guy and his beast next door. Smelling the medicinal scent from next door, I quickly grabbed some dirt to plug the crack, terrified that the fox spirit would catch me spying. Then, I touched my completely empty alchemy room, a look of absolute grief and anger in my eyes. I skimped and saved just to buy those medicinal herbs, and poured my heart and soul into brewing them, but in the end, I just did all the work for someone else. But as for how to actually get rid of the fox spirit, I didn't have a plan right now. I mean, that's a fox spirit that knows demonic magic. I should be thanking my lucky stars she hasn't come to harm me yet. How could I possibly have the ability to deal with a monster? Just as I was about to turn away in furious frustration, I suddenly froze. I turned my head to look at where the elixirs had just vanished from the furnace. There was a bead the size of a pigeon egg, radiating a warm, gentle green glow. And the craziest part was, a +40 sign was floating right above the bead. Right at that moment, my vision suddenly blurred. A panel suddenly popped up. Name, Shen Danshin. Skills, none. Points, 0. Anomaly discovered. Dropped points. Would you like to collect them? Collect. I blurted out without a second thought. And as soon as the words left my mouth, the glowing cyan bead on the ground vanished. Name, Shen Danshin. Skills, none. Points, 40. A huge grin spread across my face as I stared at my new cheat system. I swallowed my excitement and started studying it. Turns out, wherever an anomaly passes by, it drops points and skills. All I had to do was collect these dropped points, and I could instantly level up my skills. But then, my eyes landed on the completely empty skill slot. I couldn't help but groan in frustration. What a useless cheat, it only gives me points. But no skills to spend them on. What's the point? Still, after thinking it over, I realized something. If that damn fox spirit could drop experience points, who's to say it won't drop a skill later? Sure, I couldn't do anything about that furball right now, but now that I had this system. I patted the walls of my completely empty alchemy room, grabbed my hoe and basket, and rushed straight toward the mountains. That beast next door was stuffing its face with my pills, while I still had to go bust my back picking herbs and refining more. Before long, I managed to dig up a 30-year-old spirit mushroom and headed back to the village. But the moment I reached the village entrance, I froze. Walking toward me was a guy in rough linen clothes, holding a snow-white fox in his arms. The guy was tall and ridiculously good-looking, with a faint aura of spiritual energy around him. It was none other than my sworn enemy, the broke scholar from next door, Fu Yanji. Well, if it isn't Shen Danshin, you look like skin and bones. Did you go bankrupt making pills? Fu Yanji stopped right in front of me, looking at me with total amusement in his eyes. I scoffed coldly at him. I was terrified of that fox demon's power, so I hesitated, unsure if I should even talk back. But Fu Yanji just brushed right past me. Trash, he muttered. The little fox in his arms was staring at me too, its eyes dripping with mockery. Those bright eyes sparkled with human-like intelligence, as if to say, your pills were delicious, by the way. Watching those two walk away, I fiercely spat on the ground. Just you wait, one of these days, I'm skinning you to make a damn fox fur coat. But right as I was cursing them in my head, my vision suddenly blurred. I saw a glowing ball of cyan light drop right off that fox's body. Yet, both Fu Yanji and the fox seemed totally oblivious to it. Another loot drop. I quickly jogged over to the glowing bead, dying to see what kind of good stuff this fox spirit had left behind. But the second I got a closer look at it, my heart sank. Just experience points again, the bead clearly said, +5. It wasn't the alchemy skill I was desperately hoping for. Still, I quickly shook off the disappointment. Hey, free loot is better than no loot, right? Once I finally get a skill, these points are going to be super important. Hoarding them now isn't a bad idea at all. I grabbed the experience orb, and the panel floating in front of me updated. Points, 45. I carried the spirit mushroom back to my alchemy room and carefully placed it right next to the furnace. Then, I sat down in the corner of the room, keeping my eyes locked dead on that mushroom. I didn't have to wait long. A second later, the mushroom sitting on the table vanished into thin air, leaving behind nothing but a glowing cyan bead. Seeing this, I ground my teeth in furious rage. To make matters worse, I could even hear a soft string of complaints coming from next door. Why is this Lingzi mushroom only 30 years old today? That broke, pathetic alchemist next door is getting lazier and lazier. He can't even be bothered to pick a 100-year Lingzi. Now I have to refine the impurities myself. Listening to her faint, grumbling complaints, I silently stepped up and collected the experience points. My eyebrows were twitching with anger. This is just way too much bullying. After scooping up the XP, I stood right in front of the wall. I carefully peeked through the small hole, only to see that they actually had 2 oil lamps lit next door. The poor scholar wasn't in the room. The girl in white was forming hand seals, using her alchemical fire to burn away the impurities in the Lingzi. Shortly after, she took the purified Lingzi liquid and stored it in a jade bottle. The girl then transformed back into a white fox and jumped onto the bed. Just then, footsteps echoed from outside the door. I saw the poor scholar, Fu Yanji, walking in carrying a bucket of water. He entered the room, then stared at the Lingzi liquid inside the jade bottle on the table. I don't know which passing immortal master blessed me with this, but this humble scholar sincerely thanks you. It's just that, sending me Lingzi liquid every day, I can't even use it all up. If you could kindly send over a vermilion fruit tomorrow, that would be perfect. Thank you, immortal master. After the scholar put on that pretentious show of gratitude, he downed the Lingzi liquid in one gulp. At the same time, he fed the remaining few drops right into the little fox's mouth. He should be freaking thanking me, I muttered from next door, grinding my back teeth so hard they were about to crack. After finishing the Lingzi liquid, the scholar cleared the table and sat down at his worn-out desk. Right then, the little fox, who knows where she found it, carried a piece of gold leaf in her mouth and leapt right into the scholar's arms. Alright, it's time for our nightly reading. The scholar hugged the fox. He noticed the golden page she had brought back, held it in his hand to study it for a moment, and couldn't help but gasp in shock. A page made of solid gold? That is incredibly extravagant. What kind of pill recipe requires being carved onto a page of gold? Where did you snatch this from, little fox? The scholar stared at the golden recipe, extremely curious. Let me see what this recipe is actually about. These look like characters from the primeval era. Good thing my teacher taught me these just a few days ago. Peeking from next door, I stared at that golden page. Suddenly, I saw 2 glowing golden skill orbs drop right out of it. I was completely stunned. That golden page was definitely not simple. After examining it for a bit, the scholar just patted the little fox's head. Turns out, it's just some pretentious, made-up recipe. Rambling on about the golden core great Tao and ascending to the heavens in broad daylight. It's just meant to fool people. It's a completely worthless, garbage recipe. But the little fox wasn't having it. She started whining and bouncing around frantically, looking incredibly anxious. Seeing this, the scholar sighed helplessly. Alright, since you want to hear it so badly, I'll just read it to you. After the scholar said that, he began reciting the recipe on the gold leaf. This was an unspoken bond between him and the fox spirit. The fox spirit was always dragging back some ancient alchemy books from who knows what dynasty. Since she couldn't read, he would specifically read them aloud for her. As the sound of his chanting echoed out, my vision next door suddenly flashed. Skill unlocked. Golden core great Tao, incomplete. An incomplete ancient alchemy scripture. Adding skill points will trigger a mysterious evolution. I actually triggered an alchemy skill drop. Looking at the cheat system hovering in front of me, my face completely lit up with joy. I never expected tonight's peeping session would bring such an insane bonus. With just a thought, I went ahead and added 10 points. Then, the next moment, the points right in front of me shifted again. Skill, Golden Core Path, 0.5. Points, 40. Suddenly, my whole body heated up, and a fresh current of energy swirled in my dantian. Right after, my mind was flooded with countless insights into alchemy. A perfect grasp of medicinal properties and heat control. It felt like a total rebirth of understanding. I soaked in all the alchemy knowledge swirling in my head. I just stood there, totally stunned. This skill actually poured pure enlightenment straight into my mind. This golden core path really lives up to its name as an ancient alchemy scripture. Ha ha ha, looks like I need to farm some more experience points. Then, I checked the experience points needed for the next level of the golden core path. Whoa, it actually takes 50 points. I glanced over at the experience points dropped by that pill recipe next door, and man, my eyes practically lit up with greed. If I want to upgrade this skill, combining it with those 2 glowing orbs in the next room, that should definitely be enough. I carefully plugged up the peephole in the wall, then leaned back against it. I've got to find a chance to snatch up those 2 golden orbs. HMPH, tomorrow. I wonder if that guy Fu Yanji and his little fox spirit will still head over to the academy? The next day, I didn't rush to leave the house. Instead, I waited patiently for that fox spirit and the bookworm to leave their place. Before unblocking the crack in the wall to take a peek, the golden foil was gone, but those 2 shiny, golden clusters of experience points were still floating right there. Without missing a beat, I slipped out of my yard. From a distance, I saw Fu Yanji holding the fox, disappearing at the back of the village. I quickly hopped over their wall, and sneaked right into the fox spirit's house. Staring at those 2 glowing orbs of experience, my eyes almost popped out of my head. They actually said, experience plus 50. Just what the hell was that golden foil recipe? The experience it dropped was even more than the fox spirit itself. Without a second thought, I quickly scooped up the experience points. But, I didn't leave right away. A greedy thought started creeping into my mind. Ha ha, if I just steal that golden foil recipe, couldn't I keep studying it and farming experience forever? I stood there thinking about it for a long time, but in the end, common sense beat out my greed. I can't afford to cross that fox spirit right now. As long as I keep leveling up my alchemy skills, that golden foil recipe will be mine sooner or later anyway. Once I got back home, I checked my system panel. My skill points had already shot up to 140. Upgrade. I stared at the system, my eyes burning with excitement. Instantly, my points vanished into thin air, and the whole system interface flashed as it refreshed. Skill, Golden Core Path, Minor Mastery. Remaining points, 90. A massive boom echoed in my brain. The next second, an endless tidal wave of alchemy insights crashed into my mind. My entire understanding of the alchemy way leveled up several tiers in a flash. I closed my eyes, and in a trance, I could actually see the flow of spiritual energy in the air, and the pure essence hidden inside medicinal herbs. But just as quickly, a thick fog rolled into my sea of consciousness. The fog completely blocked out any deeper alchemy secrets. I snapped my eyes open, feeling completely shocked and a bit confused. It seemed like if I just kept upgrading the skill, I could push the Golden Core Path to break through its limits. When that happens, I'd definitely be able to become an absolute grandmaster of alchemy. The only problem? The next upgrade costs 500 points. That is definitely not a small chunk of change, but after thinking it over, I realized I couldn't just sit around and wait. This Golden Core Path is an ancient alchemy scripture, after all. Once it levels up, it's bound to have even more incredible powers. I just haven't unlocked them yet. Grabbing my herb hoe and basket, I headed up into the mountains, my mind heavy with thoughts. After all, I still hadn't gathered the herbs I needed for today's alchemy. Luckily, it didn't take long for me to forage a few spirit plants. I even stumbled upon a century-old yellow essence root. Right there in the mountains, I bit off a small chunk, swallowed it down, and refined its energy. Instantly, a surge of spiritual energy flooded my body. I glanced at the remaining yellow essence and the other spirit herbs, hesitated for a moment, and carefully tucked the precious root away inside my shirt. Then, carrying the rest of the herbs, I headed home. I knew damn well I wouldn't be able to keep these plants. That stupid fox spirit definitely wouldn't leave them for me anyway, so I didn't even bother processing them. I just hoped the crazy fox would be slightly reasonable and at least leave the yellow essence alone. But of course, the most crucial part was making sure she didn't find the century-old root in the first place. Muttering under my breath, I carefully wrapped the root in a piece of cloth, used a wind spirit spell to seal its scent, and stuffed it deep inside my clothes. By the time I finally made it back home, it was already noon. The moment she heard my door open, the window next door flew open, and a fluffy white head popped right out. She was staring at me, practically vibrating with excitement, and the second she saw that I'd actually brought back a few spirit herbs, the greedy fox's eyes absolutely lit up. She was practically drooling. I glared at the eagerly waiting fox, feeling my blood boil. This damn fox spirit was just too infuriating. She was so blatant about it. She was pushing me way too far. I gritted my teeth in frustration, but managed to keep a straight face as I casually strolled into the alchemy room. Instead of just tossing them by the furnace, this time, I deliberately locked the herbs inside the storage cabinet. Then, I quietly took a seat off to the side, keeping my eyes fixed on the cabinet, waiting for the experience points to drop. You see, it wasn't every time that she stole something that she'd actually drop experience points. I still hadn't figured out the exact pattern behind it yet. Otherwise, there's no way I would have only collected 40 experience points over the last 3 months. However, just as I was starting to drift off to sleep, the golden core comprehension within me suddenly flared to life. A rush of heat instantly snapped me awake. I subconsciously jerked my head up, and my pupils shrank in shock. I quickly forced my expression back to normal, trying to hide it. Right before my eyes, a young girl in a white dress, wearing a cunning, mischievous smirk, phased right through the wall. She headed straight for my cabinet, but just as she raised her hands to cast an unlocking spell, she suddenly snapped her head toward me. Catching my eye, the girl got totally spooked and literally hopped in place. She stumbled back 2 steps, looking exactly like a thief caught red-handed by the homeowner. She muttered to herself, "Wait, can this brat see me? No way, right?" My heart was absolutely pounding in my throat. I quickly forced myself to relax, pretending I couldn't see her at all, and just blankly stared at the cabinet right behind her. I was gritting my teeth in my mind, thinking, alright, let's see exactly how my precious herbs keep disappearing. The tricky girl still wasn't completely convinced. She paced back and forth around me a few times. Seeing that I didn't react to her presence at all, she finally let out a sigh of relief. She reached out to unlock the cabinet again, but suddenly, her little nose twitched. It was like she caught a whiff of something. Sniffing the air like a hound, She followed the scent right up to my face, her eyes locked dead onto my chest. She immediately started cursing, "You sneaky little brat. You're sharp as a ghost. So you've learned how to hide your stash, huh? You clearly found a century-old yellow essence root, and instead of paying tribute to your grand-auntie, you actually dared to hide it for yourself. What a bad boy." At that moment, I didn't even dare to blink. My eyes were fixed on the sweet osmanthus in the distance, while facing the fox spirit right in front of me. I couldn't help but groan inwardly. Damn it, this fox spirit is way too sneaky. To think she actually found it. My century-old spirit herb is probably a goner. Tonight, I'll just have to slowly refine my spiritual energy. Also, what kind of form is this fox in right now? Astral projection, maybe? I wondered to myself. The fox spirit looked at my chest, and boldly reached out her fair, little hand. Reaching straight into my clothes. Buzz, just as her slender fingers touched my robes, the power of my golden core great Tao suddenly activated on its own. A layer of blinding golden light burst forth from every single pore of my body. The moment the fox spirit touched the golden light, she let out a blood-curdling scream. She was actually knocked right back into her original form, transforming from a beautiful young girl into a thumb-sized, ghostly little fox. She scrambled away in sheer panic, fleeing back into the next room. From next door, a series of agonizing fox squeals echoed through the walls. I was left completely dumbfounded, totally shocked by the sudden turn of events. What the hell just happened? My golden core great Tao can actually repel fox spirits? I sat frozen on the spot, staring at the golden light radiating from my body. My eyes were wide with utter disbelief. All my previous disdain and contempt for this cheat skill had instantly turned into pure, unadulterated ecstasy. This is unbelievable, simply unbelievable. My golden core great Tao can actually vanquish evil spirits. I felt like a total badass right now, especially when I looked down at the ground and saw that single glowing orb she dropped. My eyes lit up with absolute thrill. It actually gave me plus 50 experience points. That has literally never happened before. Could it be my lucky day? Status check. Name, Shen Danshi. Skill, Golden Core Great Tao, Minor Mastery. Points, 140. Wait, did the golden light hurt the fox spirit? And that's why she dropped so much extra express? I'm no idiot. Staring at the massive boost in experience, I started putting the pieces together. Just as a million thoughts were racing through my mind, suddenly, right out of the wall, the beautiful girl burst out once again. But this time, she was fuming with rage. She was pouting her lips, looking incredibly wronged, with big teary eyes on the verge of crying. She stared at me like I was some unforgivable villain who had just committed a heinous crime. I was secretly freaking out, but I forced a perfectly calm look on my face. I acted as if I couldn't even see her, just minding my own business and staring at my osmanthus tree. But deep down, I was panicking. Oh God, what if this fox spirit flies into a humiliated rage and tries to murder me right here? Should I strike first? But how the heck do I even attack? Do I just glow gold and tackle her like a linebacker? I mean, she's so ridiculously agile, and she phases right through solid matter. There's no way I'd actually catch her. Meanwhile, the girl just stared at the golden light swirling around me, her eyes burning with a mix of fierce greed and total confusion. But faced with that light, she didn't dare step any closer. So she just stood there cursing at me. HMPH, you damn jerk, what the hell is that weird glowing stuff? It actually burned my very soul. You're just a lowly alchemist. How on earth did you cultivate a Buddhist protective aura? The fox spirit angrily stormed in a circle around me, before finally snatching up a heavy furnace lid from the floor. She hurled it straight at my head from across the room. Smack. Ouch. I yelped in pain. A huge red welt instantly swelled up on my forehead. Oh great, the golden light doesn't block physical damage. My forehead instantly swelled up into a massive lump. Damn it, still playing dumb about who's taking your pills? Every single time I project my soul to snatch them up. I saw you peeking through that wall crack ages ago. I was just messing with you on purpose. Pretending not to notice. What a hypocritical jerk. Bad man, you stupid, horrible man. You only know how to bully Ruan. I'm going to beat you to a pulp. The young girl was absolutely furious. She kept cursing under her breath, clearly out of her mind with anger. She grabbed another handful of medicine and hurled it right at me. And once again, I couldn't dodge it. It nailed my eye, leaving it completely black and blue. Seeing that she was about to throw another one, I just couldn't take it anymore. If this kept up, I was going to get pelted to death by this crazy fox spirit. So, I faked being in absolute agony and started rolling around on the floor. I rolled right toward her, which completely freaked her out. All the color drained from her face. Terrified of the golden core light radiating from my body, she had no choice but to angrily snatch up the herbs and retreat. Once the fox spirit was gone, I finally stopped my dramatic rolling around the room. I stared at the empty spot where the herbs used to be, falling deep into thought. It looks like she knew I was spying on her this whole time. That tricky fox was just playing dumb, she was totally messing with me. It seems like the light from my golden core can actually suppress and damage her on a soul level, but it doesn't do a damn thing to stop physical objects. I used to think she was using some kind of telekinesis spell to move things. Now I know I was completely wrong. She was actually projecting her soul out of her body. I was secretly shocked, but why would she project her soul instead of just using her demon magic? As I thought about it, something clicked. I remembered how she got caught by Zhang Da Shan earlier, and was almost skinned alive to be made into a fox fur coat. It suddenly made sense. Could it be that she's so badly injured right now that she can't even use her magic? Is that why she took the massive risk of sending her soul out just to steal herbs? Or is there another reason? I walked back over to the crack in the wall, staring at it for a long time, totally torn. Honestly, I was pretty freaked out. I didn't know if I should keep peeking or not, but my curiosity about demons was just too strong. I really wanted to take this chance to figure out exactly what her deal was. Plus, if I stopped looking now, it would make me look super guilty, like I was the one doing something wrong. But if I kept spying, I was terrified of pissing her off even more. I hesitated for a moment, but finally decided to just widen the crack anyway. Might as well keep watching. I mean, since she already knows what I'm doing. Backing down now would just make it seem like I was scared she'd find out my weaknesses. Very, very carefully, I scraped away some of the dirt and peered through the opening. Next door, I saw a white, cat-like fox still curled up in its nest. Meanwhile, a young girl in white, her body looking a bit faint and glowing, was looking completely drained as she sorted through the stolen herbs. She was grumbling under her breath. That stupid, awful man. That damn pill refiner. He actually hurt my soul. I swear, Ruan is never going to let you get away with this. Ruan is going to punish you in the name of all demons. Do you have any idea how damn hard it was for me to learn how to project my soul? I was so close to rebuilding my physical body. But then your bastard golden light had to go and hurt me. It ruined God knows how much of my cultivation. You absolute piece of trash, you really deserve to die. The girl was fuming as she muttered to herself, her language getting rougher and rougher by the second. Still, that kid's golden light is seriously powerful. I might actually be able to use it to my advantage. I dug up that pill recipe from that massive tomb earlier, but there's a seriously nasty pain in the ass guarding that place. Her eyes darted around slyly, like she had just come up with a brilliant idea. A sly gleam flashed in her eyes as the young girl's hands moved with lightning speed. It seemed like she was taking her anger out on the spirit herbs. In no time, they were completely refined. Then, muttering curses under her breath, she started concocting the pills. While brewing, the girl turned her head toward the crack in the wall, a wicked glint in her eyes. The very next second, as if just carelessly swinging her arm, a drop of boiling elixir shot straight out. It flew right at the crack. I didn't even have time to blink. With a miserable shriek, I fell hard on my butt. Then, I clamped my hands over my mouth in agony, terrified of making another sound. I rolled on the floor in pure torment, cursing her up and down in my head. That damn fox spirit did it on purpose. She's totally getting back at me. A long while later, the pain finally faded. I peeled open my red, swollen eye. Even though I wasn't blinded, my vision was completely blurred. I was definitely burned by that boiling elixir. Still, it wasn't a total loss. At least I figured out some of this vixen's secrets. Before, her spirit used to look completely solid, just like a real person. But now, she looks like a fading ghost. It's obvious that my golden core's light hurt her pretty badly back then. I actually felt a surge of confidence. Facing off against this demon, I wasn't some helpless sitting duck anymore. Still, her ability to move things with her spirit alone left me shaking in my boots. If she could chuck a cauldron lid at me this time, next time it could be the whole damn cauldron. What's worse, her spirit can just phase right through solid walls. You can't even defend against that. Whatever, for the sake of those sweet skill points, your granddaddy here will just suck it up. I muttered to myself, my ego already inflating so much that I was calling myself this fox spirit's granddaddy. Of course, it's not like I never thought about running away. Just taking my chance to break free from her control, and finding a nice spot to start my alchemy all over again. But I literally couldn't escape. Back when I first caught her stealing my pills, I actually made a run for it, but halfway down the road, I just so happened to bump into a certain snow-white fox. Once it flashed right in front of my face, I had no choice but to scurry right back with my tail between my legs. She was clearly just playing with me, forcing me to be her free little alchemy slave. Making me slave away to provide for her. That silent threat was seriously intense. And absolutely terrifying. Without a doubt, it scared the crap out of me. I knew it was her final warning. After that day, I never tried to run again. But now, knowing I actually had a tiny bit of power to fight back against this demon, I couldn't help but grin. My mood totally skyrocketed. I was no longer in a rush to risk my life fighting her. Now that I had my golden cheat code, all I had to do was lay low, grind my strength in secret, and farm those experience points to level up my alchemy. Why would I worry about not being able to crush her later? And the only price was just tossing her a few pills. It really wasn't a big deal. I'm known as an absolute prodigy at brewing elixirs, after all. As long as it brings in those sweet experience points, I'd happily worship that crazy fox like she's my own ancestor. But of course, life never goes exactly as planned. I just wanted to lay low and grind in peace. But that damn vixen wouldn't let me. I honestly thought that as long as I kept gathering those spirit herbs, my days would finally be peaceful. But on the third day, when I went back into the mountains to harvest, I quickly stumbled upon something super weird. I'd been out there foraging all day long, and was just about to head home empty-handed, but out of nowhere, a spirit bird smashed right into the tree in front of me. It crashed to the ground, completely snapping its wing. Overjoyed, I was just about to step up and bag the easy catch, when that spirit bird actually started flapping its broken wings. It went drifting through the forest. I immediately chased after it. Even though the spirit bird couldn't fly far, it darted like crazy through the grass and dead branches. I chased it for 4 straight hours before it finally dove into a dirt hole. The entrance wasn't big, only about the size of a badger's burrow. Damn it, how does this spirit bird have so much stamina? It actually ran for 4 hours. HMPH, I guess it just got lucky. Cursing under my breath, I was just about to leave, when I suddenly caught a glimpse of faint green light glowing in the dark cave. Whoa, that's the glow of stat points. Why would there be points in a cave? Could that spirit bird be a monster? Wait, there's a fading fox footprint on the ground, too. I hesitated. A massive pile of points is right in front of me. If I can collect them, my golden core cultivation will definitely level up. Only by leveling up my cultivation will I have the guts to face that vixen next door. No risk, no reward. Right at that moment, I found an ancient piece of jade by the entrance. It was emerald green all over, carved into the shape of an alchemy furnace, totally different from the jade ornaments of our dynasty. Could this cave actually lead to an ancient cultivator's den? I stopped hesitating. I turned right around to go home and grab my farming hoe. On the way back, I noticed a new spirit herb growing in my field. Man, my luck is absolutely insane today. Not only did I awaken my cheat system, I also found a massive source of EXP. Even the heavens are on my side. I picked the spirit herb right then and there, swallowed 1 leaf to absorb its power, and planted the rest back into the field. Hoisting my hoe over my shoulder, I headed back. Just as I walked into the yard, I saw that vixen squatting by her window next door, stretching her neck out to spy on me. When she saw me dragging my hoe, a look of pure disgust crossed her face. Especially when she noticed how few spirit herbs I gathered, she looked even more pissed off. It wasn't until I placed a few spirit herbs in my alchemy room that her foxy eyes finally showed. A look that said, "You know what's good for you." Then, she turned and went back inside. And wouldn't you know it, not long after, the spirit herbs in the alchemy room vanished. And they didn't even drop any express. Relying on that vixen to farm express is totally useless. HMPH. That ancient cultivator's den, I am definitely digging it up. I did a quick lap around the yard, grabbed my trenching shovel, and headed straight back into the mountains. When I got back to the cave, I realized the spirit bird was gone. It must have flown the coop. If that bird could make it out alive, it means it's perfectly safe inside. Without another word, I started digging like crazy. Just an hour into digging, my system panel suddenly popped up right in front of me. Experience points discovered. Would you like to collect? Heck yes, collect. My express started surging like crazy. By noon, I had dug a massive crater right where I stood. Hey, let's see how much express I racked up. Name, Shen Danshin. Skill, Golden Core Cultivation, Minor Mastery. Points, 350. Ah, only 350 points? I'm just 150 points away from leveling up. I glanced up at the sky. I can still dig for another 4 hours. Keep digging. Finally, at that exact moment, I stopped my hoe, staring intently at the status panel. Upgrade, a vast wave of alchemical knowledge, flooded my mind like a tidal wave. My golden core Dao leveled up from minor mastery to major mastery. Golden light radiated from my body, and a natural fragrance of medicinal pills filled the air. Countless alchemy techniques, secret fire control arts, and ingredient combinations poured into my head like true enlightenment. But that profound state of alchemical mastery faded in a flash. Most of the newly gained insights were instantly swallowed up by a thick fog again. I looked at the experience points on the panel and winced hard. Going from major mastery to perfection actually requires 5,000 points. I let out a heavy sigh, dragging my hoe all the way back home. Digging up the dirt is exhausting enough, and I still need to figure out how to haul it all away. That's when I thought of the Loyang shovel from my past life. Later that night, I headed over to Blacksmith Jung's place. Uncle Jung, I called out, I'm heading up the mountain to gather herbs, and I need a few custom tools made. I figured it was best to work with the Jungs for this. Oh, the Shen kid is here. What are you having us make this time, Brother Shen? Blacksmith Jung's son walked out to greet me. Well, what I need this time is a bit different from the usual. Let me give you the exact dimensions. I knelt down and sketched the design of the Loyang shovel in the dirt. The Loyang shovel isn't your standard gardening hoe, but it's actually not that hard to forge. It's pretty similar to a regular spade, just with added side wings to hold the dirt. What in the world are you making? This shovel? It looks way too weird, man. Oh, it's just to make things easier when I go deep into the mountains to dig up rare medicinal roots. Well, that makes sense, I suppose. Come back tomorrow and pick it up. Thanks for the help, Uncle Jung. How much will this shovel cost me? Just whip me up a fresh batch of chi-nourishing pills later, and we'll call it even. I was just about to leave when Blacksmith Jung suddenly grabbed my arm. Hold on, don't leave just yet. I've got my hands on some real good stuff here. Wanna take a look? Good stuff? Like what? He quickly shut the door tight, and dragged a battered old chest out from under his bed. You interested in this, kid? I'll give you a hefty discount if you want it. Inside the chest lay a freshly sharpened longsword and a dozen steel arrowheads. Uncle Jung, are you crazy? You could get your head chopped off for hoarding these. I skimmed all of this from that big client of mine, just holding back a little bit of steel at a time, right under his nose. So, do you want them or not? Because if you don't, I'm just gonna sell them to someone else. And don't you ever say your uncle doesn't look out for you. You were the very first person I thought of. Of course I want them, but you know how strapped for cash I am right now. I'm afraid I can't afford your price. Look, we live in the same village, right? Don't worry about the silver. We've got plenty of time to settle up. Just keep making me those medicine pills, and we'll call it a deal. I accepted the weapons, my face turning dead serious. Uncle Jung, there's something I need to tell you, though I don't know if I should. What is it? With our level of friendship, you can tell me absolutely anything. Swords and arrows are strictly contraband. Has this guy been making you forge a lot of them? If this blows up into some massive disaster later on, I'm terrified that your client is gonna silence you for good. Do you really think I don't know how dangerous this is? You don't honestly believe that a lowly village blacksmith like me actually had the power to say no, do you? My heart completely sank. Arrowheads are way too suspicious. I'd better melt them down into iron pellets. Then, just forge a sturdy slingshot. Using steel balls for self-defense will be enough. As for dealing with wolves and tigers, I'll still need to rely on traps. You're as cautious as ever, kid. I'll stay up and forge it for you tonight. Just come see me tomorrow. But as for the slingshot's bands, you'll have to figure that out yourself. Finding bands strong enough to launch steel balls won't be easy. Leave the bands to me. I'll find a way to handle it. Also, uncle, could you prep some iron wire for me? Setting traps up in the mountains eats through a lot of wire. And I'll need a few iron pipes, too. When I got home, I peeked through a crack in the wall. Next door, Fu Yanji was studying. The fox spirit sat on his desk, completely mesmerized. A faint demonic aura swirled around it. Suddenly, the golden core inside me flared to life. The fox spirit before my eyes was wrapped in a layer of cyan mist, laced with streaks of black demonic energy. Then I looked at Fu Yanji. Surprisingly, he had a faint scholarly aura about him too, but it was tainted by the demonic energy, making it look murky. Is that just its demonic aura, or is the fox spirit feeding on the scholar's energy? Early the next morning, a voice called out from outside. Shen Danshin, time to head into the mountains and gather herbs. I scrambled out of bed. Coming, the man calling me was Zhang Deshan, the old hunter from our village. I owed him my life. Ever since he found out my pills were stolen, he often took me up the mountain, teaching me how to identify spirit herbs. I stepped outside and glanced at Uncle Zhang. He didn't have any strange aura on him. Over in the yard next door, the fox spirit was huddled by the wall, glaring at us with wicked eyes. Let's go. We should hurry up and gather those herbs. I need to swing by Uncle Zhang's place to pick up some tools today. Uncle Zhang, wait for me. I ran over to the blacksmith. Uncle Zhang, I'm here to pick up my stuff. Blacksmith Zhang handed me a bag of steel balls and a bare slingshot frame. Here are the steel balls you asked for. There's a good 300 of them. Try to use them sparingly. Then, he pulled out the slingshot frame, along with an iron shovel. This slingshot frame is sturdy enough to last your grandkids 100 lifetimes. Take it home and polish it up yourself. I was up till the middle of the night forging this stuff for you, kid. I grabbed my gear and went to find Zhang Deshan. Uncle Zhang, let's head up the mountain. On the way, Zhang Deshan spoke up. You know, your pill refining skills are getting pretty incredible. Your herb gathering instincts have already surpassed mine. That's only because I had such a great teacher, uncle. My little bit of alchemy is barely enough to keep me from starving. Oh, please, the student has truly surpassed the master. I could never match your skill at refining chi nourishing pills. I really don't know what's inside that little head of yours. Where do you get it? How on earth do you brew pills that pure? I still can't hold a candle to your skills, Uncle Zhang. You're being far too modest. By the way, it looks like Landlord G is raising the rent this year. You better prepare yourself early, kid. Whatever you do, don't fall short on rent. That alchemy room you're renting belongs to Landlord Lee. I frowned. Last year they already hiked it up to 3 taels of silver. If they keep raising the rent like this, how are we supposed to survive? I mean, sure, he owns the alchemy room, but the pills I made belong to me. He's just being way too unreasonable. Sigh, beggars can't be choosers. What else can we do but suck it up? After we parted ways, I went back to the tunnel and kept digging. And as I dug, a layer of frost actually crept over the walls. The dirt had turned into solid ice. I hesitated for a second, but seeing those experience points glowing deeper in, I gritted my teeth and pushed on. Just keep digging. Suddenly, my shovel struck something hard. Clang, a magical artifact buried down here? I frantically brushed away the dirt and uncovered an ancient alchemy cauldron. It was covered in mysterious patterns and glowing runes for pill recipes. I couldn't read a word of it, but I had a gut feeling. These runes held the secrets to advanced alchemy. By the second day, I dug up a ton more experience points. On my way back to the village, I ran into a donkey cart. The old farmer leading it couldn't take his eyes off the spirit herbs in my hand. Hey lad, are those herbs for sale? For sale? Of course they are. How much do you want for them? If you give me 600 coins, they're all yours. The old man handed over the cash and drove off. As soon as I got home, I realized that stupid fox spirit had stolen the rest of my herbs again. I was so mad, but what could I do? Just you wait. One of these days, I swear I'm gonna catch you. And when I do, I'll make you gather herbs and brew pills for me every single day. By the third day, I managed to brew a batch of incredibly high-quality energy pills. I planned to give them to blacksmith Zhang to pay off my debt. But before I even reached his shop, I saw 2 donkey carts parked out front, and a few old farmers walking out with bundles of straw. Looks like Uncle Jung had company. Suddenly, one of the old farmers reached into the straw for something, but an older man next to him quickly grabbed his hand. It was the same old man who bought my herbs the other day. "Relax," he whispered. "That's just the village alchemist. I've seen him around before." My eyes narrowed. Why on earth would a blacksmith have bundles of straw? That was obviously a cover-up. They had to be hiding weapons inside that straw. These guys were definitely bad news. Still, with my trusty system by my side, my alchemy skills were improving every day, and I even had the golden aura to protect me. Once I finally master the art of alchemy, I'm gonna teach that little fox spirit a lesson. As for these shady strangers, as long as they keep out of my way, they aren't my problem. Right now, the most important thing is to keep excavating that ancient cultivator's cave and farm as much experience as I can. I need to push my golden core path to absolute perfection. Playing it cool, I strolled into the shop. I pulled the bottle of energy pills from my jacket and set it on the counter. "Hey, Uncle Jung, here's the latest batch. This should clear my tab." Uncle Jung's eyes lit up. He popped the cork and took a deep whiff. A look of pure shock washed over his face. "Wow, what a rich aroma. Kid, your alchemy skills have seriously leveled up again." "Ah, you're flattering me, Uncle." I casually let my eyes drift toward the old men. From the corner of one of the straw bundles, the hilt of a blade was poking out. Just as I thought, I didn't stick around. I grabbed my shovel and slingshot, said my goodbyes, and got out of there. The second I got home, I peeked through the crack in the wall. Right next door, that tricky fox spirit was sitting cross-legged on the bed. Cyan demonic energy swirled all around her. She was clearly healing. Fu Yanji wasn't around. He must have gone to the academy. I stared at the black demonic energy faintly pulsing on that fox spirit. Something clicked in my mind, and I channeled the light of my golden core. I focused my gaze, and man, what a sight. I instantly gasped. The demonic energy inside her was actually on the verge of collapsing. And that strange black aura was constantly eating away at her demonic core. No wonder she had to steal my chi-nourishing pills every single day. So it wasn't just for cultivation. She was using the spiritual energy from the pills to suppress that creepy black aura inside her. Well, this fox spirit has a hidden injury. I couldn't help but gloat. If that's the case, once my golden core mastery levels up a bit more, I'll have a much better shot at taking her down. Just as I was thinking that, she suddenly snapped her eyes open. She stared straight through the crack in the wall right at me. My heart skipped a beat. I quickly pulled my head back. HMPH. Peeping again? I swear I'll gouge your eyeballs out sooner or later. The girl's furious voice echoed from next door. I pretended not to hear her. I got up, grabbed my Loyang shovel, slung my basket over my back, and headed into the mountains again. The excavation progress on that ancient cultivator's cave was way slower than I expected. The dirt at the entrance was insanely hard. Every strike of the shovel left my hands completely numb. I dug for 3 whole days, but barely made it past 20 feet. But the payoff from these 3 days was huge too. Name, Shen Danshin. Skill, Golden Core Mastery, Advanced Level. Points, 1,200. 3 days of digging bagged me 850 experience points. But that was still a long way off from the 5,000 point threshold to level up. On the 4th day, I unearthed something. It was a palm-sized jade slip, entirely emerald green. It felt warm and smooth to the touch. I probed it with the light of my golden core, and a rush of information instantly flooded my mind. A fragmented manual for a spirit beast contract. By using essence blood as a medium, you could bind a spirit beast as a servant. Once the contract was successful, the beast's life and death would be entirely at the master's mercy. My hand trembled slightly as I gripped the jade slip. A spirit beast contract. Do you know what this means? It means I can contract that damn fox spirit. Ha ha ha, the heavens are watching over me. They really are. I threw my head back and laughed, my voice echoing throughout the cave. But I quickly cooled down. This contract technique was incomplete. Plus, it required essence blood. I still needed to meet 2 conditions before I could contract a spirit beast. First, I had to level up the skill. Second, I had to find the right chance to inject my essence blood into the fox spirit's body. HMPH, as cunning as that vixen is, she'd never just let me contract her without a fight. No rush, I'll take it slow. I kept digging. On the 5th day, the frost on the cave walls grew thicker and thicker, and a foul, decaying stench filled the air. I dug up a skeleton. The remains were sitting cross-legged, draped in a rotted Taoist robe. Several shattered magical artifacts were scattered nearby. This must be the master of the cave. I carefully searched around the skeleton and found 3 items. A storage bag, a token, and a palm-sized shard of bronze. The storage bag was ruined, and most of the stuff inside had turned to dust. Only a single bottle of pills and a few spirit stones were left. I didn't recognize the pills. But the spirit stones were the real deal. A full 6 of them. Every single low-grade spirit stone was packed with rich spiritual energy. As for that token, the word, suppress, was carved on the front. On the back was a topographic map. The bronze fragment was the most bizarre. It was covered in densely packed runes. I channeled the light of my golden core to inspect it. But surprisingly, I couldn't see through it at all. It seems this bronze fragment is far from simple. I packed the items away and continued digging. On the 6th day, I finally reached the core of the cave dwelling. It was a stone chamber, roughly 30 feet square. Right in the middle sat an alchemy cauldron. It was the exact same cauldron I had dug up earlier. Scattered around it were various alchemy materials, most of which had already rotted away. But surprisingly, one spiritual herb was still brimming with life. It was a completely fiery red spirit mushroom, growing on a black stone. Radiating a scorching aura, a 1,000-year-old fire spirit mushroom. I was overjoyed. This was a top-tier alchemy material. If I refined it into a pill, it would make my cultivation level skyrocket. Carefully, I took the fire spirit mushroom, along with that black stone, and tucked them both into my storage bag. Then, I kept searching the stone chamber. In a corner of the room, I found a hidden compartment. Hidden inside were 3 things: a pill recipe, a cultivation manual, and a letter. The writing on the letter was already blurred, so I could only barely make out parts of it. My Taoist title is Azure Cloud. I have cultivated for 120 years. Later, I accidentally entered a forbidden land and obtained this bronze fragment. It contains the ancient path of alchemy, known as the Way of the Golden Core. However, cultivating this method requires using your own life essence as a catalyst. The slightest mistake leads to complete destruction. With my lifespan nearing its end, I leave this cave dwelling behind, waiting for a fated person. So the master of this cave was Taoist Azure Cloud, and what was recorded on that bronze fragment was actually the very same great Tao of the Golden Core that I was currently practicing. The reason he died was because something went wrong while practicing it, causing his life essence to dry up and die. After reading the letter, I couldn't help but break into a cold sweat. I had upgraded my great Tao of the Golden Core directly by adding points with my cheat ability. If I had cultivated it normally, I probably would have followed in Taoist Azure Cloud's footsteps long ago. Haha, my cheat ability is seriously overpowered. It let me completely bypass the fatal flaws of a technique like this. Such deadly danger, I sighed in amazement, then packed away the pill recipe and cultivation manual too. The recipe was for something called the Foundation Building Pill. It could help a cultivator break through to the foundation building realm. The manual was Taoist Azure Cloud's main technique, the Azure Cloud Mantra. Its grade wasn't low, but it was nowhere near as good as the great Tao of the Golden Core. I did another sweep of the stone chamber, and only left the cave when I was sure I hadn't missed anything. By the time I got back to the village, it was already getting dark. The moment I walked into the courtyard, I saw that fox spirit crouching by the window next door. Her seductive eyes were locked onto the basket on my back. "What are you looking at?" "I didn't pick any spirit herbs today," I snapped in a bad mood. A hint of suspicion flashed in the fox spirit's eyes, but she didn't say anything. She just turned and went back inside her room. I walked into the alchemy room. I shut the door tight, then pulled out the loot from my storage bag to take inventory. The Foundation Pill Recipe, the Azure Cloud Art, 1,000-year Fire Lingzi, and 6 Spirit Stones. A token, and a shattered piece of bronze. Oh, and that jade slip with the Spirit Beast contract technique. If any of this got out, it would drive any cultivator absolutely mad, especially that Foundation Pill Recipe. If word of that leaked, I can't even imagine how many cultivators would kill for it. I need to find a chance to actually brew this Foundation Pill. Even though I've mastered the Golden Core path, my actual cultivation is still stuck at the Chi refining stage. If I can just take this pill and break through to foundation building, I'll have a much better shot at handling that fox demon. But brewing it requires a ton of materials. Right now, I only have the main ingredient, the 1000-year fire lingzi. I'll have to slowly gather the rest of the herbs. For the next few days, I spent my mornings foraging in the mountains, and my nights cultivating the golden core path, digging out my cave to grind for experience points on the side. Half a month later, I finally gathered every single ingredient needed for the foundation pill. Status check. Name, Shen Danshin. Skills, Golden Core Path, Mastered. Spirit Beast Contract, Beginner. Points, 3,500. I upgraded the Spirit Beast Contract to the beginner level, which cost me 200 experience points. Reaching the beginner level gave me a solid grasp of how the whole contract system works. To bind a Spirit Beast, you need 3 things. First, the beast has to be severely weakened. Second, you have to force your essence blood into its body. And third, you activate the contract using a secret art. That fox demon took a heavy hit from my golden core light, so she's already incredibly weak. Combine that with that weird, dark energy inside her, and it's the absolute perfect time to forge the contract. But before I do that, I need to get this foundation pill brewed. That very night, I sealed the door to my alchemy room, set up a basic soundproofing ward, and got to work. My mastery of the golden core path gave me this incredible, almost instinctive control over the alchemy process. I ignited the furnace and tossed the herbs in, one by one. My hands blurred as I formed the signs, firing seal after seal straight into the flames. The ingredients melted, purified, and fused together instantly. The whole process was flawless, without a single hiccup. 6 hours later, a rich, herbal aroma drifted from the furnace, the sign that the foundation pill was finally taking shape. I took a deep breath and channeled the final collection seal. The lid flew off, and 3 glowing, golden pills shot out from the flames, landing right into the jade bottle in my hand. The foundation pills were done. I couldn't wait. I tipped one out and swallowed it whole. It melted the second it hit my tongue, and a massive wave of energy exploded inside me. It flooded through my veins. I instantly fired up the golden core technique, guiding the energy through my meridians. 1 cycle, 2 cycles, 3 cycles. The moment the 49th cycle finished, a deafening boom echoed inside me. It felt like a massive chain had just snapped. A terrifying surge of power erupted from my body. Every single jar and bottle in the room rattled wildly. Wow, the foundation building stage. I did it. I finally broke through to foundation building. Feeling this insane amount of raw power coursing through my veins, I threw my head back and let out a triumphant roar. But right at that moment, the door to my alchemy room was kicked wide open. It's the middle of the freaking night. Why aren't you sleeping? What the hell are you screaming about? A girl in white stood in the doorway, hands on her hips, glaring at me with utter annoyance. It was the fox demon. My heart skipped a beat, but then a surge of joy hit me. You came at the perfect time. I slapped the ground and shot straight up into the air. The light of my golden core erupted all around me. You wicked monster. You stole my elixirs. You've been messing with me for 3 whole months. Today is your doomsday. The fox demon's face instantly dropped. HMPH. You dare lay a hand on this lady? Lay a hand on you? I'm gonna turn you into a fur coat. Without another word, I channeled the power of my golden core and threw a massive punch straight at her. The fox demon moved in a flash, turning into a streak of white light to dodge it. Even though she's a demon, her soul was damaged, and her powers were severely weakened. She didn't dare to take my golden core strike head on. You've got some nerve, Shen Danshin. I just took a few of your little pills, and you actually dared to attack me? The fox demon gritted her teeth in pure anger. A few pills? You've been stealing my elixirs for 3 months. 91 entire batches. You didn't leave a single pill for me. You call that a few? If I don't beat you until you're crying for your mommy today, my last name isn't Shen. With that, my hands formed a hand seal, and my golden core's light condensed into a glowing blade. I slashed right at her. This time, the fox demon couldn't dodge. The blade of light grazed her shoulder. Ah, a blood-curdling scream echoed out. The fox demon was sent flying backward, slamming hard into the wall. Her demonic aura flared up violently. What kind of spell is this? How can it actually hurt me? The fox demon clutched her shoulder. Her eyes were wide with pure terror. The light of a golden core is the ultimate counter to evil demons like you. I scoffed coldly, and lunged right at her. The fox demon gritted her teeth. In a flash, she actually phased right through the wall, fleeing into the room next door. Without a second thought, I smashed right through the wall after her. Boom, my fist blasted a massive hole straight through the solid brick. In the next room, Fu Yanji was just sitting at his desk, quietly reading. The sudden explosion scared the living daylights out of him. Shen Danshin, have you lost your mind? Get out of the way, this doesn't concern you. I forcefully shoved Fu Yanji aside. My gaze locked entirely onto the cowering fox demon in the corner. By now, she had reverted to her true form, a pure white, fluffy little fox. She was shivering uncontrollably as she stared at me, her eyes brimming with absolute terror. Don't come any closer. The little fox pleaded, speaking in a human tongue. Her voice was trembling on the verge of tears. Oh, so now you're scared? Why weren't you scared when you were robbing me blind? I took slow, menacing steps toward her. The little fox desperately tried to run, but my golden core's aura had her completely locked down. No matter where she tried to hide, she couldn't escape my strike zone. I only stole your elixirs because I had no choice. There's this terrifying black energy trapped inside my body. I have to use the spiritual energy from your pills to keep it under control. Otherwise, what the hell does that have to do with me? Your problems are none of my damn business. The little fox trembled with rage, but quickly deflated, losing all her fight. Please just spare my life. I swear I'll never ever do it again. I'll spare you, on one condition. Sign a spirit beast contract with me. Acknowledge me as your master, and I'll spare your life. In your dreams, I possess the proud heavenly fox bloodline. How could I ever submit to a human cultivator? Then go to hell. I raised my hand. The light of my golden core condensing into a radiant sword, ready to strike. Wait, I'm willing. That's more like it. I put away the light sword, and handed the jade slip to her. Use your lifeblood essence as the catalyst, and sign the contract with me. A hint of struggle flashed in the fox spirit's eyes. But ultimately, she bit the tip of her tongue and spat out a drop of lifeblood essence. It landed on the jade slip. I likewise bit my fingertip, and squeezed out a drop of lifeblood essence. The jade slip radiated a brilliant light, as a profound rune flew out from it, sinking into my forehead and the fox spirit's. The next moment, I felt a new connection forming in my mind. It was the telepathic bond of the contract with the fox spirit. From this day forward, this fox spirit's life and death was entirely at my mercy. Master, the fox spirit lowered her head, her voice filled with absolute humiliation. What's your name? Ruan Ruan, Ruan Ruan. I sized her up, a smirk curling on my lips. Good name. From today onwards, you'll be refining pills, gathering herbs, and doing chores for me. Only when you pay off the 91 batches of pills you stole. Will we talk about your freedom? 91 batches? You're asking for my life. Think that's too much? Then let's make it 182 batches. No. 91 batches is fine. 91 it is. Fu Yanji, who had witnessed the whole thing from the side, was now turning pale and green in the face. Shen Danshin, you actually contracted my fox. He pointed at me, too furious to speak properly. Your fox? You bought this fox? Then did you know she stole 91 batches of my pills? Since you claim to be her master, shouldn't you be the one to pay off her debt to me? Fu Yanji was instantly dumbstruck, his face flushing bright red. He couldn't squeeze out a single word for ages. Since you can't pay up, then shut your mouth. I grabbed Ruan Ruan by the scruff of her neck, and carried her as I walked back to my own place. From today onwards, she is my fox. Fu Yanji was trembling with sheer rage, but glancing at the massive hole in the wall, and then at the Foundation establishment aura surging around me. He ultimately didn't dare to say another word. Back in my own alchemy room, I tossed Ruan Ruan onto the floor. Spit it out. What's the deal with the black mist inside your body? I was originally a heavenly fox from Qingyun Mountain. I cultivated for 300 years, and was only one step away from forming my demon core. Half a year ago, I accidentally wandered into a massive tomb, hoping to find a lucky encounter. Instead, I was invaded by a bizarre, eerie black mist inside the tomb. That black mist kept corroding my demonic power. It took everything I had just to escape alive. But my core was already damaged, and my power plummeted to rock bottom. Later, I was caught by Zhang Deshan, the hunter, and then bought by Fu Yanji. In order to suppress the black mist inside me, I had no choice but to steal your pills. Where is this massive tomb? Right in the deepest parts of Qingyun Mountain. Master, you couldn't be thinking of, exactly. I'm going to check out that tomb. Any place that can spawn such bizarre black mist is bound to have a massive amount of experience points. Besides, since you are now my spirit beast, it's only natural that I help you take care of the black mist in your body. Ruan was completely stunned. She clearly hadn't expected me to say something like that. Master, cut the crap and lead the way. Over the next few days, I worked on stabilizing my foundation establishment cultivation base. While gathering the supplies I'd need to explore the Grand Tomb, I also custom-ordered a new batch of gear from Blacksmith Jung. A grappling hook forged from adamantine, an extendable probing pole, a short blade for self-defense, and a set of lightweight but incredibly tough leather armor. Blacksmith Jung stared at my order, giving me an increasingly weird look. Brat Shen, are you planning to go grave robbing? You must be joking, Uncle Jung. I'm just heading into the mountains to explore and forage for some rare medicinal herbs. I lied without batting an eye. Thankfully, Blacksmith Jung didn't pry any further, and just told me to be careful. 3 days later, everything was finally ready. I took Ruan and stepped into the deep reaches of Qingyun Mountain. Even though the little guy had acknowledged me as his master, he was still grumbling the whole way. Master, are you absolutely sure we have to go to that giant tomb? It's seriously dangerous in there. I barely made it out alive last time. No risk, no reward. But, keep nagging and I'll add 10 more cauldrons of pills to your quota. Ruan instantly clamped his mouth shut. After trekking for the better part of the day, we arrived at a hidden valley. It was completely overgrown with thick weeds, and didn't look out of the ordinary at all. But Ruan suddenly stopped in his tracks. The entrance to the tomb is right behind that massive boulder. I stepped forward, and sure enough, hidden behind the rock, I found a cave entrance completely masked by thick vines. The opening was pretty small, only wide enough for one person to squeeze through. It was pitch black inside, so dark you couldn't even see your own hand in front of your face. A bone-chilling draft poured out from the cave, making me shiver involuntarily. I channeled the glow of my golden core technique, casting a light over the entrance. Let's move. I took the lead and squeezed into the dark tunnel. Ruan followed right behind me. Inside was a narrow, cramped passageway. Both walls were heavily carved with eerie, bizarre runes. I used my golden light to inspect them, and discovered that they were actually giving off faint ripples of spiritual energy. They seemed to be part of a larger formation. Looks like this grand tomb is far from simple. After walking for about an hour, the passageway suddenly opened up, and we stepped into a sprawling underground palace. The chamber was perfectly circular, about 100 feet across. Right in the center sat a massive stone sarcophagus. It was completely covered in the same runes that we saw back in the tunnel, and scattered all around the edges of the chamber were countless piles of bones. Some of the skeletons belonged to humans, while others were clearly beasts. They were densely packed together. There had to be at least 100 corpses here. Master, this is the exact spot where that black mist attacked me last time. I focused my gaze, and sure enough, I saw wisps of a dark, murky aura seeping out of the sarcophagus. They drifted into the air, twisting into bizarre, shadowy figures. These shadows were vengeful spirits. Just as I was studying them, my system panel suddenly popped up right in front of my eyes. Massive amounts of experience points detected. Do you want to loot them? My heart practically leapt out of my chest with joy. Every single shadowy figure in this chamber was a floating orb of experience just waiting to be claimed. Loot. My points began to skyrocket insanely fast. In the blink of an eye, they smashed right through the 5,000 mark. Upgrade. Without a single second of hesitation, I leveled up my Golden Core Grade Dao technique from mastery straight to perfection. Skill. Golden Core Grade Dao, perfected. Total points, 6,800. A vast surge of alchemy enlightenment flooded my sea of consciousness. I just felt like something exploded in my mind. At this exact moment, I finally understood the true profound meaning of the Golden Core. I threw my head back and roared with laughter. Golden light erupted all around me, lighting up the entire underground palace as bright as day. The moment those drifting black shadows touched the golden light, it was like snow meeting a blazing fire. They melted away into nothing. Points increased by 100. Master, you broke through? Softy's eyes went wide. Her face was full of absolute shock. It's not just a breakthrough, I said, feeling the surging power coursing through my veins. The current me could smash 10 of my former selves with a single slap. Right at that moment, the stone coffin in the center of the palace began to shake violently. A terrifying aura poured out from inside. It was over 10 times stronger than before. Who dares disturb my slumber? The coffin lid blew open with a massive bang, and a dark shadow shot out from inside. It landed on the ground, transforming into a middle-aged man draped in a long black robe. A mere Foundation establishment brat dares to trespass in my tomb? So, you're the master of this massive grave? I am the 7th generation sect leader of the Azure Cloud sect, Taoist Master Xuanming. Brat, do you know the consequences of trespassing in my tomb? Consequences? What consequences? Master, watch out. I stood rooted to the spot, completely unfazed. Right as the tendrils of black smoke were about to grab me, the golden core light inside my body erupted with brutal force. The light of a fully perfected golden core. Its power was easily 10 times greater than the mastery stage. The golden light burned like a blazing sun, and the black smoke was like melting snow. The second those tendrils touched the golden light, they crumbled inch by inch, fading into absolute nothingness. Points increased by 500. What kind of divine ability is this? The light of the golden core, the ultimate bane of all evil. You stopped being a living human a long time ago. You're nothing but a wretched, vengeful spirit clinging to a rotting corpse. Running into me is your worst nightmare. You arrogant brat. I raised my fist and launched a devastating punch. The golden light gathered around my knuckles, forming a blinding sphere of pure energy. It clashed violently with his black spear. Boom! A massive explosion tore through the air. The black spear completely shattered, but my golden sphere didn't lose a single ounce of momentum. It slammed dead center into Taoist Xuanming's chest. That's impossible. I have cultivated for 300 years. How the hell could I lose to a Foundation establishment brat like you? 300 years of cultivation and you're still just a pathetic ghost? Guess you're not that much of a big deal after all. Hey man, hand over every single treasure and cultivation technique you've got, and I might just give you a quick and painless end, in your dreams. Then rot in hell. Wait, I'll give them to you. I yield. He pulled a storage bag from his robes and tossed it right at my feet. I caught the bag, popped it open, and took a look inside. There were exactly 3 items in there. A cultivation scroll, a command token, and a strange bronze fragment. My heart skipped a beat. I pulled the bronze piece out, and realized that this very fragment matched the one I found in Taoist Azure Cloud's cave. They fit perfectly together. The moment the 2 pieces snapped into place, the ancient runes on them became whole, faintly revealing what looked like a hidden map. What is this bronze fragment? Even I have no idea. I acquired this artifact from a forbidden realm. I pondered over it for a century, yet I still couldn't crack its secrets. All I know is that it holds an ancient path of alchemy, called the Great Way of the Golden Core. It was exactly because something went wrong while I was practicing this method, that I lost control and went mad. And turned into this half-human, half-ghost monster. So that's what happened. This Taoist Xuanming was also a practitioner of the Great Way of the Golden Core. Too bad he didn't have a cheat system like me. His training went completely wrong, and he turned himself into a vengeful spirit. Alright, you can go now. You promised me a quick death. I'll give it to you right now. I threw a punch, unleashing the light of the Golden Core. It instantly smashed Taoist Xuanming into dust. Points, plus 2,000. After he vanished, he actually dropped 2,000 experience points. I was thrilled, and quickly opened my system panel. Name, Shen Danshin. Skills, Great Way of the Golden Core, max level. Spirit Beast Contract Technique, beginner level. Points, 10,300. It broke 10,000. I took a deep breath, suppressing the excitement in my heart, and finally left the Great Tomb. It was already dark outside. Ruan and I traveled through the night, and didn't make it back to the village until early the next morning. Just as I reached the village entrance, I saw a massive crowd gathered right outside my courtyard. I hurried over. In the crowd, Blacksmith Zheng spotted me. His face instantly changed. Shen, my boy, you're finally back. Something terrible has happened. What happened? Last night, Squire Li brought his men to collect rent. He said he was taking back your alchemy room. Since you weren't here, they just forced their way in. And then what? They dug up a whole pile of swords and weapons from your alchemy room. He said you were hoarding contraband, and that he's going to report you to the magistrate and have you arrested. Hoarding contraband? Since when did I hoard any contraband? Wait, could those swords be the ones Blacksmith Jung forged for me? But I clearly had Blacksmith Jung melt all those weapons down into iron beads. How could they still be at my house? Right at that moment, the crowd parted and a man dressed in a fine brocade robe, a middle-aged man with a fat head and big ears, strutted out. It was Squire Lee. Shen Danshin, you've been hoarding weapons, plotting a rebellion. What do you have to say for yourself? Squire Lee, you claim I'm hoarding weapons. Do you have proof? Proof? Those swords we dragged out of your alchemy room are the proof? Men, seize this rebel. Ruan, yes, master. Beat every single one of them to the ground. Just don't kill them. Ruan had been holding in her anger for a long time. Hearing my order, she instantly turned into a flash of white light and dashed forward. Screams echoed through the air. In the blink of an eye, over a dozen thugs were knocked flat on the ground, wailing in agony. A monster. Monster, my foot. Speak, who planted those swords in my alchemy room? I don't know. I let out a cold sneer, channeling the light of my golden core. An invisible, crushing pressure completely engulfed Squire Lee. I'll talk. It was Fu Yanji. Fu Yanji put me up to this. I frowned, my gaze sweeping across the crowd. On the outer edge of the crowd, a scholar dressed in rough hemp clothing was quietly backing away. Fu Yanji, where do you think you're going? In a flash, I appeared right in front of him, grabbing him by the collar. Shen Danshin, listen to me, let me explain. You colluded with Squire Lee to frame me. What else is there to explain? I just had a moment of madness. You stole my fox. I was just so bitter. Stole your fox? When that fox demon was stealing my pills, why didn't you claim she was your fox then? Now that I've tamed her, you suddenly remember she belongs to you? Enough nonsense. We're going to the authorities to clear this up. No, please don't report me, Brother Shen, Master Shen, I beg you, for the sake of our years as neighbors. Spare me this once, I'll never do it again. I can spare you. Hand over those 2 acres of barren land your family owns. And we'll call it even. But that's my family's ancestral land. Then we go to the authorities. I'll give it to you. I'll go back and get the deed right now. That's more like it. Shush Shen, Master Shen, I was also bewitched by Fu Yanji. You are a generous man. Please spare me. Spare you? You brought thugs to break into my house, and you even wanted me arrested. A simple, I was bewitched, and you think you can brush it off? I'm willing to pay. Your rent for this year is completely waived, and I'll never collect rent from you again. Not enough. Then I'll add another 100 taels of silver. 500 taels. Squire Lee's face turned completely pale, but looking at Ruan glaring menacingly behind me, he gritted his teeth and said, 500 taels it is. Everyone, clear out. I waved my hand, and the crowd instantly scattered in all directions. Back in the alchemy room, I tossed the silver and the land deed I scored today onto the table. I felt incredibly damn good. You were so badass just now. Cut the flattery. From today on, you're going to cultivate hard and focus on making pills. You still haven't paid back those 91 batches of pills you owe me. Calling me master won't get you out of it. I stood up and walked over to the window. Watching the villagers slowly disappear outside, a smirk tugged at the corner of my lips. From this day forward, Shen Danshin is no longer the poor alchemist everyone could push around. Whoever dares to cross me again will end up just like this wall. Shen Danshin raised his hand with a sweeping motion. A flash of golden light streaked by, and the gaping hole in the courtyard wall was instantly restored to normal. A faint golden halo still rippled across its surface. That was a ward formed by the light of a golden core. If any ordinary person so much as touched it, they would be blasted away. Ruan stared at that layer of golden light and timidly tucked her neck in. He knew that from now on, he could never truly escape this man's grasp, but for some reason, deep down, he was actually secretly looking forward to it.